Hi everyone, and welcome to a very late video, because I should have done this one at the beginning of the term, but we've been so busy in the lab that I've only just got around to doing it. So these are the changes that have happened over the summer and over the course of the first term that's happened in the lab. Primarily this video is aimed at third, fourth years and second year undergrads. So they know about the new kit that we've got in to help with their projects and scenarios and stuff like that. So if you are one of my undergrads, then thumbs up. If not, then yeah, you might find it interesting to know about sort of kits that and changes that are happening in an electronics lab. As you know, as technology progresses, you know, how do the electronics labs cope with that? How do we tackle it? So yeah, let's get on with it and show you what's been going on. Alright, and so from the top we're going to start down one end and work our way up. Hopefully my camera isn't too shaky for you and you can see what's going on. Right, so 3D printing has gone absolutely ballistic in this lab, and we've had to cope with that. So we've got in a couple of new TAS, Losbot TAS 4 and 5s in. So that's there. So we had one before, and we've increased that to 3 TASs, and we've also got in 2 other 3D printers. They're the Roboxes from Cell. So we've got one TAS set up with flexible filament. They're all false filament printers. There's no fancy resin ones or anything like that. It's the false filaments you get, you know, for your money. You can do more prints with these ones than you can with the resins and the wax base and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so we've got one set up for Ninja Flex to do flexible parts. We've got one set up with a dual head to do flexible and solid printing, so you can do all that kind of stuff. Ninja Flex and ABS on that one, and we've got another one set up solely to do the more solid filaments like PLA, ABS, and what have you. So they're the printers that we got. So we've expanded out on that with some and separated them out so you can do mixed printing. I don't know if the oven, if I showed you the oven in last what happened in the lab sort of video, but yeah, reflow oven is all up and running now. The baffle's all on, it's all vented external, and yeah, that's all up and running. And this has been heavily used. It was used for the Year Alike project. Ran through about 10-20 panels through that. Each one had probably about 15-16 circuits on, so you know, a couple of just over 100 boards got sent through that oven and soldered after pick and place on the machine. The machine's been heavily used, and as you can see, it's in quite a state now. Components all over the place, extra reels all added in. That's been heavily used. Soldering stations and what have you all heavily used as well. Got in a few extra the hot air stations, extra Antex iron with various tips and what have you. Little mini ovens over there now. It's been moved off the cabinet, so it's on its own over there for small circuits. Other stuff that's been happening, mainly on benches. See if we can get a tidy bench. There we go. Right, so you can see what's happening there. Right, so first things first. Kit that was on the top of the benches, that's been moved down onto the bench top. That's to give you a nice clear area above, and we've upgraded our computers. No longer have one machine between two. You've now got individual machines in here, so we've got about 60 to 70 computers now in this lab, all running Windows 764-bit. They've got a ton of memory in them, i7 shit-ass fast processor. They're full touch, so you can do gesture control and all that sort of stuff. Webcams, microphones all built into them. On arms, so they're lifted up off the benches. You can move them about into various positions. all the way up to give you more space. So you got a nice empty bench to work with. Keyboards can all be shifted up onto the top shelf if you need that bit more room. And the reason why we done that, moved the stuff down off the top benches so you don't have any flying leads going everywhere. You know, all your cables down on the bottom of the benches. You don't risk dragging the equipment off the top of the bench, and yeah, makes using the equipment a little bit easier. It's all at bench height. So yeah, so that's a couple of the changes that's happened. Got in some new storage. Slowly getting rid of the old crappy manky looking grey cabinets. Going for some new swish stuff over there, and they're all running down the lab. In these cabinets, the old grey ones, is where we store all the filaments for the 3D printers. So we've got all the stuff for the Luz box in one, and we got, oh my god, there you go, you can see all the mess that 3D printing causes, all that filament from the acetone and everything, melted filament from acetone dripping down everywhere. They're all the filaments for the row boxes, PLA and ABS. In this cabinet, this one is for third and fourth year projects and personal projects. Students get their own storage space. Now, if you've got your own personal projects, you can go in the tray, or Flem Society stuff can go in trays, and what you're not, third and fourth years in red trays. Other stuff that's going on in here, we're upgrading the signal generators to Rigol ARBs, so the old MTEX matrix is going. They're what we're upgrading with. These are the DG1062s, they're 60 MHz ARBs. They're going out on all the benches, so you can have a play with them. Ben has just walked in the door. Yeah, he's running a class today, so that's one of our undergrads. And yeah, so if we wander down the back here, as you can see, not much has really changed. A few new bits of kit. We've got the virtual benches from NI. Bought two of those in, testing them out. They're basically all-in-one instrumentation units, so digital I/O, mixed signal, oscilloscope, power supply, DMMs, all that kind of stuff. I'm not particularly took with them, but yeah, we'll see how they go, and I'll let you know how they pan out. Been testing other kit, so yeah, so benchtop multimeters, Keithley power supplies, what you're not, and down here we've been testing out other kit. Rigol power supplies buried at the back here behind our more advanced kit. We've got the Rigol MSOs. That's a MSO 1104 4-channel MSO. Had that out on test. Different Rigol supply there. That's the DP 832A. But yeah, so we've got some stuff on test which we purchased. We're running through all that, and yeah, you can see that's one of the row boxes that I was talking about earlier. Got in two of them since our 3D printing has gone nuts. Down the back, infrared workstation has been relocated to the rear of the lab now, where there's a bit more space. It's a bit of a mess at the moment down this end, simply because Ben Thompson has just done his IEP experiment, basically controlling a bioreactor that we've built. So that's one of these little boys down here. Basically, students get to grips with a bit of control over a mixed engineering domain. So you've got your liquid in there that you're monitoring, and you can monitor it with a pH sensor, thermistor at the back, measuring temperature. You've got various tubes that you can pump in and out liquids with, so you can control pumps, small motors to control the stirrer and what you're not. And it's got a heating element in there as well, so you can heat up your stuff. So yeah, it's collaboration experiment, the IEP, Integrated Engineering Program, between chemical engineering, mechanical engineering and electronic engineering. Like I said, you've got loads of hot air stations now, and yeah, printer's been moved to the back, took that out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of your experiments when you're doing the microwave interference experiment. That happens in the second year. Big screen has been overused, so we've got extra ones of those in, and that's more or less it for the changes that have really happened in here. The biggest ones are the arbs that we got in, moving the equipment about, give you more space, and updating the computing facilities in this lab. So I will leave it there, and I'll see you next time.